What? That's how I know that you care about this experience and you're paying attention. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Whatever time went, even if it's not the correct time, you earned it. What? What was that? What was that all about?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
Lem_Lemon gifted J Sunshine 013 a subscription.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour
Lem_Lemon gifted a
when he
tier 1
realized
sub
that
to
not
J
one
Sunshine 013.
single order had arrived.
Hello. What the f... Whoa. Why does this look weird? Shorts! Hello, shorts. Oh yeah, I forgot. I should probably put the headphones on. I like the narrative experience I'm getting. Woo! I don't like this. Why is the FO... Okay, that's better. So is all that you missed yesterday's? Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, the YouTube video is up. You can watch it at least. We're gonna experience some more today. Hopefully I can get some different things going. I got the bucket. I can use the bucket. I just gotta figure out how to use the bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Did I miss a memo? Why is this here again? One day it's not here, the next day it is. You're welcome. The pencil sharpener is the employee. Alright, bucket time. Should we take the bucket?
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy. It's not too often I hand out subs. You're the only sub I'm going to give out for the next couple months. Really hitting my bank account when you do that.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
We love this room. This is the favorite room. We're gonna stay in this room.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What
That's
a
right.
thrilling journey.
Aw,
The bucket had
you didn't.
inspired.
You didn't have to do that, Sunshine. I gave you the sub. You don't need to pay for the sub.
Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only
Thank
place
you for the
a bucket can even
donation.
feel at home.
Thank you. You freaking
Stanley
stinker.
decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
Does it? What does the bucket have to do with the lounge? I'm assuming nothing. Oopsie. Have you tried jumping out the window? This window? You can't jump. There is no jump. Alright, we're out.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
No, thank you.
No,
Said the bucket.
Now.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Nope, not this time.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point."
Oh,
Stanley, how could you
it
think
does.
it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
I don't know.
suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
How would I know what a bucket
if that's
wants?
true, well, my goodness. I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly.
What do you mean?
So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay. So I'm gonna learn what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? Oh my
Now,
god.
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
Okay.
Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin.
Let's begin. What is a bucket? Is this a bucket?
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
What? What?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Is it a bucket? Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Yes! I got one right.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you.
What?
Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Next, please. Please. Why would they put a whole tractor in there? It's a
Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
What?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What the fuck do you mean, both? What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift.
You're getting it.
Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
You don't know.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with.
Are you a bucket?
I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
What?
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Holy.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now.
What?
It's delightful to get some clarity on that
This
issue.
makes
but it doesn't
no
change the fact
sense.
that we haven't got a game.
Zero
So,
sense.
Tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll
Put
know
the buckets
that it's
back.
all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Of course, there's no window here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Always touch the computers. Always.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms.
Bucket.
With the bucket in his arms again,
Bucket.
he was home.
Bucket. We need the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket
We need to
tightly
go this.
to his chest. This was not the correct way
We need
the
to go
meeting
this
room.
way.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yeah.
And here it was. Had
Nope.
the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
The bucket is always wrong.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him,
You know what? I
and he
never went this
unthinkingly
way.
did whatever the bucket asked.
Alright, saw your
In
message a
here,
little late.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
That's where they got the inspiration of the bucket. Oh.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home where we can go about life together.
Is this a Matrix reference?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
He's here waiting for me. Oh wow, this is a nice little setup. It's a little cozy in here. Look at this. Wow. This is nice. Shelves are a little high, but you know, okay. Hello, Stanley, it's me, your bucket. Press X to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Oh, okay.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
I don't either. Time to go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
No,
that's it. It doesn't do anything else.
I don't believe you. A bucket is more than that. Don't listen to the loud man.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
What did you call it? That is so rude. Ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of...
The Honda you want
Whoa.
is here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
That's right. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley?
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just a
not.
little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Wow. It has a certain je ne sais quoi. Relive this same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Go home. Wait, to go home, to work, to home, to work, to home, to work? Je ne sais. Quack.
Oh no.
Whoa.
I'm having feelings for the bucket. No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
You're coming after the bucket?
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Oh, God.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Holy.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
No,
Why
I'm
don't
scared.
we take a minute just to drink it all in?
Last time
Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yes.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want.
I
like
could.
right now. You could have done it just then.
No.
Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate.
No.
I'm enjoying what seems to
Oh. Let me move my camera up a little
be an
bit.
internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game.
I'm
So,
not.
just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly.
Oh.
But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons.
Oh.
He pushed them like some kind of glutton.
Yes.
He did it all day in a
day.
meaningful way.
Yes.
But his brain had long ceased to function.
That's fucked up. Okay,
Which
wait
is
a minute.
why he is in this parable
Uh-huh.
and lives an existence quite terrible.
Yeah.
And if you are not strong
Yeah.
and keep playing along,
Yeah.
you too will become quite unbearable.
No. Nice.
You too will become quite unbearable.
Aw, that was nice. This is a song about Stanley, a man who was quite gangly, stayed in a room that was white, and couldn't even put up a fight. All the days went down, all because of a clown. Name something. Okay. Is this it? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump
All
out.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Time to hit
Stanley
the no
decided to
button.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map
Correct.
until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along.
We can
He
jump
then
out here with
praised
the
the game for
bucket?
its insightful and witty
Great.
commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay,
yeah.
I'm
Done.
over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yes. No.
Ah, then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option?
Oh shit.
Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer?
It is.
How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this
Hours.
is Rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected Continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky.
Great.
Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Thanks.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
What? What do you mean, is this Stanley's office? What? What just happened?
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
What?
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the
What?
land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans,
What?
and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret,
Of
and the
what?
many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its
Yeah.
crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man,
What
to
the-
manifest justice where none existed,
What the
and the
hell?
bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway,
the
meted
hell?
out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim.
What the hell is wrong with
The
this bucket?
opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception.
What is
This
wrong?
was way too much for Stanley.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket?
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
What?
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing
What
this?
is happening?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power.
What?
Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
We never again grab the bucket, right?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Two, 8, 4, 5. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Huh. Oh, you know what? I wonder what happens if I take the bucket with me and I do the up, down, up, down, up, down thing.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Or violent death. I already did this with the bucket.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
True. Here it is. I did this with the bucket. Now what happens if I don't do it with the bucket? Did it freeze?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
Wait.
And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Do I still go to the museum? Oh.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh. Wow, I still go to the museum. Nice.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Oh wow, so now...
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Wow. Office, like the blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path to Stanley's office has 2 doors. Yeah, there I am. Then we walk in here. We walk in here. Then the choices begin. Yeah, don't think too much on that. It's okay. It's fine. Everything's okay. Hey, look, Stanley's computer. All the nature paintings. Look how easy it is to make a game. Look at that. Look at all the assets. Literally all the assets of the game right there. 1, 2, 3. The button sounds. All sounds used from Half-Life. All of them. Everything's a bucket. What do you mean? Everything is a bucket except Stanley in the narrator, so there's plenty of buckets. Crows, crows, crows? Huh? Oh, is that what it is? The boss's office. Wow. The office clock. Click, click, tick, tick, tock. Wow, this is awesome. This is better than the bucket one.
Then he pushed the number 8. Now then, this elevator for sure would get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story. Try the other one then.
Kevin bringing the voice of the narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times.
See how
over
it's
2
impossible
years.
for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design, textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. When Stanley came to the lift, I'm just going to make this easy on you to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever. The big red button. Stanley pushed the number 6. Stanley pushed the big red button. Stanley stood on the snow.
On the snow? Stanley stood on the snow. I didn't even know there was snow. Is there snow? The freedom ending. I got that ending. Computer desk? Huh. Oh, that was the beta. He swears. That's funny. Wow, the countdown room. Well, look at that. That room looks sick. Monitor room elevator. Stone, hello. The Zending. Jesus. So I'm gonna need you to relax. The game is now paused. Huh. Everything's great. We're just chilling, having a grand old time. Having a grand old time playing the Stanley Parable. Holy hell. The meeting room. Yes. That's how we're doing. The flow of hallways following the two doors is important. We played them many times. We discussed the number design, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won. 227,000? Jesus Christ. One doorway to maintenance in the lounge? What? Obey staircase. Disobey lounge. First choice. Obey staircase. Disobey lounge. One doorway to maintenance in the lounge and the original back to on track option. Oh my god. There's too many endings. Everything has its own ending. Every room has a choice. What the hell is this? Over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one released in May 2012. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Stone, hopefully, things are going well on your end. You have been posting so much. It's insane. On all your socials, you are just going ballistic. The copy machine. Fun. If it is for you and me. What do you mean? Okay, so like the problem you're having with, I think it was your professor not getting back to you through your emails. You're taking all these tests, nobody's responding, and you're not getting them done on time. Somebody decided to, you know, party too hard some days. Out here living your best life. Look at this Warzone. Design an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. You realize shortly after starting to build it, it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people, it was making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Well, that would have been cool. Yeah, you know. You got a lot going on. Oh God. Jesus. Oh my God. These poor penguins. Why are they always fighting? You want me to wait in the email room? Stanley's office? Yeah, 2 computers? Yeah, this looks better. I know. And all they say is, no, no. On a scale of Max Ernest to Salvador Dali, how surreal will the game be? Reborn with a magnificent force, or are you bargaining with a magician? Oh, congratulations, congratulations. In line of the previous announcement regarding the audio to the full details, be the first to apply their. You hear the phone call? What? Omnipotent voice. I wanted to say you like the Stanley Parable as much as I like seeing humorously small badger in swim trunks. Here I say it, pushing buttons. Oh God. I transferred $24 million? What the f... How do you type with boxing gloves on? Montgomery Jones. I was a supervisor to help through my... I went to Paris last week. The week before that, he was like, he's busy and gave me feedback so late that his boss sent him an email. Yeah, that guy should be fired. Do you know what the question, what the email was? There's a skeleton inside of you. There is more skeletons in this world than humans. What? Am I Stanley? Are you spying on me? I don't know why. How? What the hell? Will the game feature capybaras? How short are these messages? Yeah, Stone, that wasn't fair for you, by the way. How do you stay in shape? Michael the Rock Martin. Whoa, are you gay? I'm done. I can't believe you made me wait for that. He said now that he's doing illegal stuff to help me, he's giving me extra feedback. He can't get... Wait, he can't get arrested? What? So being in handcuffs could help. Wait a second. What? What are you talking about? What in the world? Oh, this is still in the game somewhere? Extra feedback is illegal? Why don't you tell him helping his students, you know, isn't illegal? How about that?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
I can't believe Shorts.
Listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
I did it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Oh,
Was
okay,
this no?
Stone.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his
You
left
have a-
to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh,
You have a good night.
Stanley, I'm
gonna
glad
be
you
here with
found
this
your way
bucket.
here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
What the hell is this? What?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
What does this baby
Don't you
have
want
to do
another
with it?
story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
I don't know where this baby's from. The pencil sharpener's here, my computer, a mannequin, and a big giant baby? What the hell? What is this? This isn't... That's a table, the two doors, the room, the fireplace, the fern. The fern's here.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh, I don't... Oh, God. No. No, I don't want to hear this music right now. This is the worst music. I hate this music. This music
Now
sucks.
this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh, these are the... Wait, this is the two doors. What? As long as I don't have to listen to the adventure music again. Where the hell does this go?
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
We already stabbed the bucket.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend.
Why is it...
For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Wow. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Huh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know what I haven't done with the bucket? I haven't completed the...
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
I forgot.
You can feel that, can't you? Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close. He had felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
Uh-oh.
And that's when Stanley realized,
Oh no.
this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd.
Where'd the bucket go?
And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Which one is it?
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Oh, God.
She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
Oh, my God.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work,
Oh,
for which her
God.
bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What? What kind of ending is that?
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Whoa. That was new.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, time for... I only have one more of those figures left.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to just pick one.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
I couldn't really tell you what the
Yes,
endings I got
this
were.
is certainly the most logical
Just
explanation.
because I never really played this game, so I don't know what they're actually called. We're gonna do... I think I'm gonna try the up, down one. With the bucket.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
That was weird.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Not as good as the number 8.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. No, said Stanley to the bucket.
You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Oh God. Alright, let's go. Let's go hit the number 3.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush.
Yes.
He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind.
Something.
Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend.
Yeah,
surely there was
anything.
a solution, mustn't there be?
Divorce. Like me and Terzi. Oh shit, he didn't say anything.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's.
The number 3.
And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it
God.
until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived,
It's
Stanley
here.
was as prepared as he'd ever been for
This is
anything
great.
in his life.
All right. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.
This was it.
Oh God.
One last chance to win the bucket over. One
again,
opportunity
three
to
again.
share a true connection with a
Nice.
loved one.
God.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent.
This is
And so
sad.
it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would
Wow.
be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends.
That's
And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship,
so sad.
was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Well, sorry, Stanley. Sorry you had to feel that way.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Womp womp.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Has this hallway always been like this?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Somewhere both red and blue.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket
I need to get
guiding
the
him?
bucket to the end.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Alright. We're going to the end. Is there a different ending for the nuclear option?
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Yes, me and the bucket never made it here yet.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
There's probably a different ending when I jump down there with this bucket.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
Most
Had
likely.
the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do?
Probably.
What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
We're not sure yet.
These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own
Why did he
life in
scream
someone
into the
else's
bucket?
control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
That's right. Hell yeah.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
Yep.
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away.
Freedom.
Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end.
What?
True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and...
What?
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed?
They should be. Hello?
An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
What?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
Whoa! Was that it?
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright, there's one more ending I want to see on this side. One more.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yep.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster, but Stanley guessed the correct code by
Your stuff comes in a little late.
Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I can't believe I died. Clutching my bucket. Woo!
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. lights rose on an enormous room, but just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps.
Wow.
After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis.
What?
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility.
Who needed to?
This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible.
Of course it was.
Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed.
True.
It wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually.
It could.
It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
See, that rope is gone. Why is that rope ever there? Come on.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
It's not raining outside anymore. That's good.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Oh, nice. Wait, how do I do that one? Ooh.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer
Yes,
luck.
we did.
Was it that the bucket knew all along?
So lucky.
Was the bucket guiding him?
It is.
Yes, this is certainly the
It's
most
giving
logical
me
explanation.
all of the info I need.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Yes,
The lights
please.
rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Yes.
monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
528's out.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Oh, 432. Oh, this is all the way down there. Yep, just pencil sharpener.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
What a sad, sad time. Only being able to trust a bucket.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from his very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machine... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
The bucket
Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this?
Whoa.
Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Oh.
Birds. Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Ooh.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
Whoa.
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Aww. Wow, we just watched birds. Oh.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Bird up. Bird up.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place
Wait, we did this
eventually.
already.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Wait, is there an ending that I didn't do? Wait, where's the last input? Where's that one at?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room?
What?
I mean, truly, truly, deeply, madly love.
What the hell? I've never heard this.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysterious but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
This is perfect.
From here, it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
I already know which way to go.
Now, let's see.
I just need to get to the right of the door to get the last collectible.
Left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
I can't remember what color door I chose last time. Uh-oh.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Perfect. There's no bucket. I never saw the baby. Uh-oh.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change?
Yes.
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story. I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before.
I think we're lost.
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We're lost. There's no bucket. There's no balloons, no bucket. Everything's broken. Oh!
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
We definitely did. We missed a lot.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
No.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
Congratulations.
Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Thanks. Oh, this is the pair. Oh, God. The parable
All right,
line.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
As long as it brings me to the door.
You see? The line knows where the story is.
Oh,
It's
that means I
over
have to
in
listen
this
to that
direction.
stupid song.
Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination,
Oh, here
even
comes
if
the
there's no
confusing
story
thing.
there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Yeah, his coworkers absolutely can't stand him. Isn't this door supposed to be closed?
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh, alright. Here we go.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
Right.
Something exciting, daring, mysterious.
Let's do it.
Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now,
You cheeky
yes, this
bastard.
is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no,
Oh,
not you
God.
again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
It's not line
How
slander.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity.
I mean, I guess
In fact,
it is
I
slander.
believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay.
I'm not
so
walking.
I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there
Yes.
must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another
Alright.
victory for logic.
If you're
Come,
sure.
Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this?
Oh, it didn't matter.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all...
Yeah, I messed it up
determined?
last time, actually.
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle?
Did we?
Whatever it is that made this schedule?
Did we?
How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do...
Oh. What the hell was that?
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries?
It scared the
Did
hell out
something
of me.
crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Was that it? Oh my god, I didn't, did I? Well, the bucket and balloons are back. Does that mean we're done the ending?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Huh. How did you get to the red and blue room? The red and blue doors. I didn't make it to the red and blue doors.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley...
Oh, I did do it. Oh. Buttons. 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 Do you get anything for pressing all the buttons? Buttons. 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 Oh, they unpress themselves. Huh. So wait,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
is this
Stanley
a bucket
decided to
room?
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
But that's where we went, didn't we? We went down the elevator. Oh wait, no. That was the door to the right. Okay, hold on. I know. I got it. This way, this way. This way.
When Stanley
this
came to
way.
a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
This way.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it.
We got
Where
the last
so many
Stiggly
people
Wiggly.
expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward.
Thank you.
I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here, and now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Nice. A blue door? Didn't I do
Now
the
listen
blue door?
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did the red door.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here.
Whoa.
I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see.
Yes.
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what.
I'm sorry.
Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Should we go through the door? What happens if I don't go through that door?
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh. A leaderboard? Interesting. Wow. Wow. That's me? Oh, that's okay. Whatever. Lame.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Okay.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Sure.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Don't got much of a choice.
In this game,
There's the
baby
baby.
crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
It was mainly the
because
noise.
if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable.
That noise.
Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see.
What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Oh.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's
The
our
hell is this?
backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Oh, okay. The hell is this all about? Somebody throw a bottle at my house? What is going on? To Firewatch? I don't know. What is that? They had Minecraft? I'd rather prefer that.
No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
What is it? The hell is this? Oh my
Wonderful.
god, Rocket
See, this is
League?
exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design.
Oh,
Stanley,
Lord.
if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
How do you get lost in here?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm sprinting. Bing.
Are you doing it? Are you winning?
Oh.
Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a... Hold on. What are you doing?
Oops.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much...
I didn't mean to fall down here. Where the... What am I supposed to do here? Hello, Lily. Oh god. Hello?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Wow, these are endings without buckets, huh? Something's off. There's no balloons. No narrator, no balloons. Wait, that's a... Wow, that got me. Whoa, whoa.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
Why does he care so
Didn't
much
it fill
about
you
the
to the
figglings?
brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
What?
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. The figurines. The stands, the mini stands. We're missing the box set. Hello? This is where we reviewed everything. Where we saw the reviews. Oh, hey!
Here's where it all began. The first collectible.
Yes.
Back then we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain?
We didn't.
We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Never. 7. I love this. This was awesome. Oh. Hello?
And here was a second Stanlerine.
Hey, how
You
does it
found
know
this
which one?
all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
I didn't know that was the second one I found. Wait a second, that's weird. It actually knew.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
I do. It's the bathroom. I found it in the boss's bathroom because I saw the picture.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
What? My third time? Yeah, no.
Let's see. What came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
What? This never happened. What is this? What is this room? I've never seen that room in my life. Oh, there's the one with
This
the
was the
staircase.
fifth mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was under the stairs. I remember it so clearly.
I
In
did get
fact,
this one.
because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
No way. This is literally how I use. This is so stupid.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
I used to edit videos like that when I was younger. Holy crap, that's crazy. Wow, Windows Movie Maker. That's a throwback. Holy shit, that's crazy. And now, my last Stan Loreen.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
Yes.
Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other.
Why do I not remember
Except
the
for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
I don't remember the pink apple. That one has me fucked up. I don't remember the apple.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
It has me messed up. I thought, wait, where did I pick up?
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards.
What?
We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
What?
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Bigley merch. That'd be funny. There was a Stanley Parable merch that I saw at the merch thing. When,
And
in the game
here's
that
where I
me want
made
one.
that video.
Yeah.
Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video.
That's so dumb. This
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Where did I pick up the third one? Where was that?
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Was it in the boss's office? That one's really got me all messed up in the head.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
What was before this is the exhibit. This is collectibles. Literally. Oh my god, and it was the the circle.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now.
I'm not.
Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory.
Literally
this one.
could never forget the two doors. Could never forget that. Let me guess. They both lead to the same room, and here we go.
And before everything else, there was your office.
And that's it.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office?
Nope.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely?
Why did I
perhaps
invent
that's it.
Stanley?
Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I
Whoa.
can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Wow. That's insane. That's insane. Well, let me tell you that was a great time. But I think now is time to retire the Stanley Parable. It was great. It was great. Remember that time? Remember that time? Remember that time? What a great. The sequel is done.